Let's look at Armitage. Armitage is an open source graphical user interface front end for Metasploit. We'll see it's convenient for actually creating our exploits and vulnerabilities, especially to be able to archive and get access to the payloads and so on. So we're going to be using a Kali instance and also a target of a Windows 2003 server. There is nothing installed, especially on the 2003 server. But what we'll do is we'll use a vulnerability on it to be able to exploit it. So we're going to scan, exploit, and gather. So first we'll start up a few services, and then we'll get Armitage to run. Okay, so here's our two virtual machines here. So I've got Kali here, and then I've got my Windows 2003 machine all ready to go. So I just start up a few services first, and we should be fine to go. Okay, this is my database server, and then I'll start up Metasploit. And then what I'll do is I'll start up Armitage. Okay, it takes a little minute to start up, so what we'll do is we'll do a couple of little checks first to see that everything's fine. So just to make sure, we're on the right subnet. So there we go. Just let it start. Okay, so just so that we are on the right subnet, just check. So this is 0110, 111, and then we'll see where we are with our Windows machine. Don't really need to use Windows there. We don't really need to do that much on the Windows 2003 because obviously so what to do is center control delete. Okay, so we're on 10.200.0.15, so everything's fine there. So we'll just go back to see where we are. Just give a quick ping just to see if it's alive. 10.200.0.15. That's fine. And then from this side, 10.200.0.111. Okay, so we've got connectivity, everything's fine there. We're really just waiting for Armitage to start up. Okay, so with Armitage you've got your auxiliary modules, and then there's the exploit payload and our post. So what we can do, the convenient thing about it is that we can actually have a look to see our vulnerabilities. So in this case, just have a quick look at the Android one here, browser, web view, double click, and we can actually read a little bit about it. Okay, so what we have is some parameters that we set here. The one with the plus is the ones that we need to modify to make sure that they're correct, but then we can go in and modify each of these ones just like we did in Metasploit. Okay, so really Armitage creates the script that runs in the background. So everything that we've done up to now is really still relevant. So what we'll do is we'll have a quick scan of the network. So we've got scanner, and then we go to discovery, and then we'll do an ARP sweep first. And there we are there. So what we'll do is we'll scan from 10.200.0.1 to 10.200.0. We'll go to 120 because our Windows machine goes up to 100. Our own machine goes up to 111, so we'll go up to say 100. Okay, so it's just going to do a quick scan. So there we go. 1 is up, 11 is up, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, and then here are our hosts actually here from that. So then let's now do a TCP scan of one of them. So I'm going to select just one at random here. So I'll select 65. So now what we want to do is to do a TCP scan. So we go to scanner. So we want to go to auxiliary and then scanner and then port scan. Okay, just expand that and we'll just go for something like a TCP scan. Okay, so here we are. So I'm going for 65 here. Let's drop the number of ports down to just 1 to 1000. And then we'll just go ahead and we'll just scan that one machine. Okay, so you can see that all the parameters that are set with inside Metasploit as we saw before. And it's just going to be running in the background now. So that's our one host that we're actually doing. So let's see what ports are going to be revealed running from them. Okay, so a bit later on we'll do our own Windows 2003 machine from them. So let's get ready to do the next one. Okay, so no ports have actually been released there. So we're obviously running some other device, maybe it's a firewall or something like that. So we're not really getting very much. But we'll see later on when we do our scan of this machine, then we'll get lots of ports coming back. So the next thing we'll do is we'll look at our NetBIOS name scan. Okay, so here we are here, and NB name. And then we'll just go ahead and we'll scan from 1 to 100. Okay, so we're getting NetBIOS requests to each of our hosts. So see if we get any reply back. So the next thing we'll do is we'll do an SMB scan. SMB is a share that we get on a Windows network. So then we can go ahead and we can see what we get for that one. Okay, so we're going to go to SMB. So there you go. There's the Windows machines that are on the network now. Okay, there's some of the machines that are there. And so on. Okay, so we've got one at 15, 12, that 15 is our own one, 12, 11, 29, and so on. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is we'll do our SMB scan because that's going to be part of our exploit. There we are. And what we want to do is to do our SMB version. Okay, we'll just go ahead and scan up to 100. See what we get coming back. Okay, so each of your scans are appear in a new tab, so you can actually have a look, and you've got an archive of those things. And while it's running in the background, you can actually see what's going on. Okay, so there we go. So there's Windows 2003 at .11 and one at 15. And one at 12. Okay, if you want, you can just move them around. So I just place them here. Okay, so now Armitage has found out that this is a Windows machine, so you can see the logo has actually changed. It's found out Windows 2003 purely from the SMB share. So next what we'll do is we'll actually do a scan for this one machine. Okay, so it's found a whole lot more Windows machines. There we go. There they are all there. So if we'd done a Linux type scan, we would have seen a different icon there, but we're only interested in the Windows 2003 machines just now. So the next thing we need to do is to be able to do a TCP scan. So then we'll go to our port scan and we'll go to our SYN. This is what we're interested in. So let's pull that up and we'll go for there. let's not do all those ports. And we're going to do a scan of that machine there. That's our one here. Okay, so you can see the 7, 9, 13, 17, 19, blah, blah, blah. All these ports are actually open on our instance that we're going to have a look at. Okay, so that's showing us how we can get to look at all the ports and look at the shares and so on. Okay, so our SMB shares allowed us to be able to discover the Windows 2003 instances, and then this one here is giving us our ports that are open. That one there, as you remember, that gave us our ARP scan. There's our TCP. So we just get rid of some of these ones just now because we now have them in our database, so everything is fine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run an exploit. Okay, so we go to our exploit drop down here, and then what we want to do is to go to Windows here. From Windows we want to go to our SMB, so that's the thing that we're going to exploit. There we go. And then we pick off the one that we're looking for, which is 0867 Net API. Okay, because we've selected it here, it automatically comes up. Okay, so this is unpatched Service Pack 2, but this exploit here will exploit 2003. Okay, so you can see there, that's the details of it there. Okay, so that's fine. So we'll go that, and we'll just go ahead and we'll actually just launch it. Okay, so you can see just a bit like before, we see our connection actually happen, and look what's happened. We have a crazy little icon, which means that it's now been exploited. User would never know over here. Everything just looks the same from there. So now what we want to do is we want to be able to look at bringing up a console. So what I'll do is I'll just expand that. So we've got Meterpreter, or we can look at we can get a command shell, or we can get a Meterpreter shell. So first one we'll do is get a Meterpreter shell. Okay, so it's just like we've done before. From there, there's all the commands we can use for Meterpreter. So we'll just get the system there. Okay, and then I'm going to get the user ID just to see who I am. So I'm system, so I can get my SID. And that's the SID for the machine. Okay, so we're going to do a quick hash dump there. So there's the hash dump because we're the administrator. We could also use migrate, but we don't really need to do that. So let's just open that up and just create our file. Then we'll paste, and that's fine. Control X there. And there we are there. Okay, so already it's cracked the passwords there from the hash dump that we actually have. Okay, so if we now look at, so we'll just get logged in here. Still under control here, you would never know that over there. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take a quick screenshot of the desktop here. There we go. That's the screenshot there of our virtual machine. Now what we're going to do is show the processes. And there we are. Okay, so that's all the processes that you've got running over here. So if you wanted, we could run, let's run Notepad. Go over here and we can refresh, and hopefully we should be able to see Notepad. There it's there. There's them. If I kill it now, over here, just refresh, and it's gone. Okay, so that's the show processes. Now what we can do is we can actually look at the file structure, or the files within inside there. So there's a few ways that we can do this. We can either bring up the command shell, or we can just browse the files like that. Okay. If I create a file, and there it is there. Okay, so we've got, we can view the files. The other way that we can do this is to actually go and we can create a little command shell. Okay, so there's a little file that we've just created. And there's the contents of that file. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're going to record the keystrokes, just like we do in Meterpreter normally. A little bit of a delay between that, but you can see they're coming through. And then if we wanted, we could actually have a look at this file here. So it's in /root /.s4 loot. There we go. Okay, so it saves it onto the Kali desktop, so that we can view it again. So the next thing we'll do is we'll create our VNC connection. So this will give us a remote desktop. So interact VNC. Okay, we just get ready here. So it's going to show us a port and that we can connect to. So VNC viewer 127.0.0.1 and :5970. Okay, it's this value here that you want. And there we go. Look, woohoo! I can move it around. I have complete control of it. And there. Okay, so that's our VNC type connection. So next what we'll do is we'll gather some information from the host. So then we go to post, and Windows. Still interested in this machine here. So let's check to see if this is a virtual machine or not, whether it's a real server or a virtual machine. So we're going to check whether it's a virtual machine. And it is, it's VMware. So what we can do is we can run an ARP scanner actually on from the machine. So let's just scan the network from that machine, gather some information from it. Okay, so you can see there, that's it scanning from our compromised machine onto the network. Okay, so there's the nodes and there's the MAC addresses. So then what we'll do is we'll have a look at the netstat. So over here, when we run netstat, we can see all our connections. Let's run netstat -a. There they are. So there's all our connections that we have just now. So what we can do over here is that we can run netstat TCP netstat there. And there they are there. So we can see all the connections there, just the same as we saw over there. These are all the network connections that there are on that machine. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get some information from the actual machine. So first thing that we'll try is our Illuminate Internet Explorer, just to see if there's anything in there. Okay, so it's getting some history, getting some cookies. So yeah, it's not really managed to get much information. Oh, there we go. Yep, found it. Okay, so again we'll go here. So the first one gives us our first one gives you the Internet Explorer history. So 19. This is the file here that we want. There we go. So there's the contents of that file. So you can actually see here are all the pages that have been accessed there. And we can actually have a look at the cookies on this one here. Oops, what we want is the cookies. There they are. Okay, so there's all the cookies that have been stored on this machine here. Just let me close that down. Okay, so now we'll go look at the credential gatherer. From that machine. Okay, so we've targeted that one, so that's the one that's going to run. Okay, so there's some of the credentials that we saw there. That's the credentials on the system, and then what we'll do is migrate. So often what we'll do is migrate to a certain process. So I want to go for manage and migrate. Okay, so it's migrated to a certain process there, so we should now have a privileged access. And what we're going to do is enumerate our applications now. Enumerate applications. Okay, so there's all the applications that are running, the version numbers and so on for the software applications that are running. And then we'll have a look at our logged on users. Okay, so there's the script running there. We can actually see here's the users that are actually logged on, and then that would be the text file that we could open up. So if you remember, we had it in root. And dot there, and root. There's the information that we've gathered there. We can look at our shares. We can enumerate our shares now. See what shares are on the machine. Okay, and so on. So this is giving you an overview of Armitage. Thank you.